And during the Dark Ages, there was nothing but Jerome's Latin Vulgate in the Roman or Western churches. And you can see that during the Dark Ages, Latin as a language really dies out. And the Pope forbid any other language translation. He wouldn't allow the Bible to be translated. But the Pope kills millions for owning Bibles in their own language. You can read about this in Fox's Book of Martyrs or other church histories that are accurate. The Pilgrim Church by a man named Broadbent is another resource. Peter Ruckman's History of the New Testament Church. There are several resources where you can read about this, where Christians were caught by the Pope owning a Bible in their own language. They would be burned at the stake, and they would tie the Bible around their neck and burn the Bible with the person. And that's the kind of thing the Pope did to stomp out the efforts to get the Word of God in the language of the person reading it. As a result of the Pope's persecution of those who want the Word of God, no other language text Bibles show up during this Dark Age period until Erasmus and until Luther and until the new Bibles that came out in English prior to the King James 1611. And at that time then, the Pope did put out English and other translations, but only to counter the pure text Bibles. That's why if you read those Bibles, they are different because they come from the corrupt text and they make corrupt changes. And these new Catholic Bibles are corrupt Alexandrian versions. And we see up here that the new Catholic Bible during the time of the Reformation and right up before the translation of the King James was the Douay version, which came out in 1582 New Testament and 1610 the Old Testament and the New Testament were combined into one Bible. And a year later we see the King James 1611 comes out. So again, taking a look at this stream of Bibles, you can see the King James Version comes from a pure stream, but then later in 1881 the Revised Version came out and they used what's called the Westcott and Hort Greek New Testament. That New Testament was a switch from the Erasmus Greek New Testament, but Westcott and Hort in 1881 came out with what's called the Revised Version English Bible in England, and it was based on this Westcott and Hort Greek New Testament. And that is based on the corrupt Alexandrian manuscripts. After the publication of Erasmus Greek text came a line of purified English Bibles. Psalm 12:6 says, "The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times." And that is why when you look at the history of English Bible translations, you see a line of 7. Each one of these made improvements upon the other, and it was a purifying effect. From the Masoretic Hebrew and Textus Receptus Greek text came a purification till finally we get our authorized version of 1611. And that is why you'll see on our chart that we have 1769 as the final revision of the KJV. The 1611 was the last English translation to come from the pure text before the apostasy set in. These revisions that took place up to 1769 were revisions of spelling and grammar and that sort of thing. It did not change the translation. On the other hand, these Bibles come from the Alexandrian text that the Pope gave you, and that includes you could put the Revised Version of 1881 at the top, but in America, the English Bibles coming out of that text are the American Standard of 1901, the Revised Standard Version of 1954, which, among other things, removed the word virgin from Isaiah 7:14, destroying the prophecy of the virgin birth. The Amplified Bible of 1965, the Living Bible of 1971 that originally had son of a bee, I'll not say the word, and other horrible translations in it. The New American Standard Bible of 1971, which among other things, including the things I've already mentioned, in John 1:18 turns Jesus into a created God, and it matches the New World Translation of the Jehovah's Witnesses. Then in 1982 is the New King James Version, which lies in its preface and says it comes from the Textus Receptus, but you can find numerous places where they have used the corrupt New Bible text. New Century Version of 1991, New Living Translation 1996, Message, a total of more than 300 new Bibles in 100 years. They change important doctrines and they contradict the Bible that Christians have used for 2,000 years. And if you study it, you'll find that the new Bibles come from a corrupt line and the King James comes from a pure line. You can read all of this for yourself if you get a hold of David Otis Fuller's books. One is called Which Bible? Another is called True or False? And a third one is called Counterfeit or Genuine, regarding Mark 16 and John chapter 8. We also highly recommend a couple other books. One, Manuscript Evidence by Peter S. Ruckman, and one that I just finished reading, Forever Settled by Jack Mormon. We believe that God has kept His Word pure, and we believe verse 7, Thou shalt keep them, O Lord, Thou shalt preserve them from this generation forever. Preserve what? His pure words. Authorized King James Version.